we're moving ahead. 4.0
Microphone.
4.0 communication and reports. 4.1 finance update, Carla.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. First, we'll start with the first page of our budget to actual report, which we're going to take a big look at that state receivables, or I shouldn't say receivables, state revenue. It's showing that we're about 10% down, but that is not accurate. We just booked $2.3 million in receivables today, which will bring us actually to 102% of our state receivables. I have not finished booking our federal dollars yet, so I don't want to give a full dollar amount on that, but I'm guessing we'll be right into that 100% mark. And if we go down into the general fund for expenditures, just note our payroll came in almost exactly where we budgeted, which is pretty kind of nice when it's my first time around, but that's just for salaries and wages. Employee benefits, we are actually over budgeted them a little bit, and that could be a multiple of factors that went into that. It could be not as many people taking it, or we were just in midst of negotiations when we started budgeting it. And just one note on the purchase services, some of that has LTFM expenses in there that do qualify to be moved to the construction fund. So we are going to move some of that down into that fund. So any questions on that page? I talked a little fast.
Do you know how much we're moving? Or not yet?
Off the top of my head, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Just kidding.
Okay, so next page, just looking at our other revenues and for other funds, food service. This came up a little bit better than we expected. So we're sitting right in there about the 121% mark. And to my knowledge, we've received all of our funds for that last year for that. There might be a few little trickles in, but that is pretty accurate. So overall, the expenses for the food service fund is up a little bit, but total, they came out in the black, which is good because we weren't sure if we would hit that. So, and they did. Community ed, I still have some receivables to book for them right around that $45,000 mark. So their revenue is going to come up. Unfortunately, their expenses are a little high, but we're gonna work on that. So those are the two of note. If you look at the district-wide current year to date where we're at, we are not at 3.3 negative. That's just our receivables haven't been booked on this report yet. So that'll bring us up quite significantly. So that's about all I had to report on there. Any questions?
Real quick. So with the food service, so I remember I asked quite a few times last school year.
Yep.
If we were worried we were going to lose money. So essentially we're not losing the amount of money that we thought we were going to with the difference.
Yep, because we weren't quite sure how much the state
Yep.
was going to pick up.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
And I would think with the, full funded, that's helping most districts as well. Whether you have more people eating, it might be more expense, but you're also going to get some more revenue and,
What about the equipment line?
equipment.
In
On the
general
first
fund expenditures,
page.
67.6%. Is that gonna change at all, or
I don't think so.
no?
Yeah, we just might have had something in there that we thought we were gonna get, but we didn't.
Okay.
So. So going on to the treasurer's reports. Overall, right now, we're sitting with 1.644 in the bank. As of right now, this morning, after our bond payment went in, we are not that high. That we are closer to about 2.5 million. So we will be watching our cash on hand very closely. So that's going to be kind of looking at how things go. That is about the main point I wanted to make there. Any questions?
the one thing we talked earlier today, that it's not like you have your total fund reserve sitting in the bank available at all times. So, I mean, we just have to keep in mind that we are going to, and as we overspend a little bit, because that's what's projected for the year, it's gonna get closer and closer at times. And that's the problem that, not having any reserve, everyone, we have to meet payroll, we have to meet expenses. And some of it's not paid, the state, prorates or partitions out your payments and things like that. And so it could become an issue where we have to do some short-term borrowing, as we go over the next year or two, until we start building again, just something to keep in mind. Carla's doing a good job keeping an eye on it, but that's,
Budget daily. so
Yeah.
that- Those are the main notes.
Any questions for Carla?
So at what point in the cash do we start to say, okay, maybe we need to start looking at taking money from other places?
Soon, but I'm not 100% sure.
well, it just depends, like she has, what'd you say, roughly 1 million coming in August.
Yep.
And it's based on, we somewhat know what, our expenses are coming short term. It depends on when you're getting your payments and when, expenses are coming. But the problem is, and I'm just throwing it out there, say you spent your reserve down to $1 million. That's not gonna be enough cash on hand, because you're not gonna have that whole million. Now we're, just under 4 or whatever, projected to be.
Mhm.
You still got a little play, but the smaller that gets, the less that's actually sitting in the bank all the time. Audit wise, they're gonna book it that we close the school down, given enough time, you would have that amount of money all in hand, but it would take some time to get there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's the piece that, different when you have 6 million to 5 million to 4 million to 3, it's gonna get tighter and tighter, and just gonna have to watch, because short-term borrowing costs money, just like having that money in MSD LAF. It's making you money. You don't want to pull too much out of there unless you need it,
Mhm.
because it's generating income.
Yeah, and our interest rate right now is sitting at 5.16 in Maslow's. So we're keeping it in there as much as we can.
Here it says 5.36.
Yeah,
Is that
I-
moving pretty consistently?
It's
or-
been pretty right in that line. I pulled it today, it was 5.16,
Okay.
so.
And you said cash on, it was more like 2.5.
Well, yeah, it's just doing quick math in my head, it's between that 2.5 and 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 4.2 administration and department head reports.
Okay, just running through a few things. Food service contract is part of tonight's agenda. Definitely recommending that. Thank the group that's worked on that. To make sure everyone's in the loop. The custodian maintenance came in a little bit later. They are on board. I got the verbal that they're gonna accept it. They do truly have to vote on it, but it sounded like it was a done deal. So we'll get a red line version of that in the near future. I'll get that out, because again, I have limited knowledge, just like the food service, of what's all been, so help me on that. I'm reading through, but if something looks out of place. The at-wills, met last week with the group, and we will work over the next month to get those, hopefully tied up and in place. As you see in the agenda, we have a resignation of another social worker, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully when I say it's concerning. I'm not talking culture necessarily. I mean, from what I understand, they're leaving for opportunities, but it's concerning on what are we going to be able to get to replace. And so the plan is to post and see what we get, and work with admin will be back next week. And I mean, whether it's a social work counselor, there's some varieties of what we can get to help service the students. So I'm just throwing it out there. If anyone has ideas, we're always open to them. The South Point principal position, you should be aware that we're recommending, we don't have Soraya's contract yet, but she'll be taking that position. And so I guess I'm looking to the board for a little bit of info on next steps. We have 2 assistant principals that are interested. Okay. We have a couple options. I mean, I'll be honest, I think both of them could be good leaders. We could choose to just interview, get that done, and then you're posting for an assistant principal. And I'm gonna say / dean. I know the board has went to sit, but if you can't get, we gotta get. Now the flip side, or we can just leave them in the pool and open it up and let them participate You know, it's different because I'll be honest, I think your pool for principal might be different than your pool for assistant principal. And I just don't know the people enough or even the school culture and this and that. I know time is of the essence because principals come back next week, and we're planning. So I'm just looking for a little bit of, I mean, I've talked to several people, everyone has a different opinion and there isn't a right or wrong necessarily answer. If anyone has thoughts so that we can move, and I'm gonna say move tomorrow one way or another, whether we open it, post it completely for a week and let, those two be internal candidates, or we have confidence in the two, they've made it this far, obviously either working for us or being hired in, some form capacity.
I think opening it to the outside to see if we can get some other candidates with fresh eyes in South Point, I just think that'd be good, even though I don't know who the candidates are for the principal there, but I think it would be nice to open it up to the public as well. That's my.
I like the idea of opening up an AP position to the public, and the reason that I say that is when we had the AP positions, previously, we had really great candidates, so that's, if I have to plug that right now, like, come back. So, I mean, we had a very tough time making those decisions, so in my mind, if you have a principal group, you have it for a reason. If we want to, promote them from within, I don't have an issue with that.
I feel the same. I guess if we weren't gonna do anything with the internal candidates, we would have just posted right away, right? Instead of seeing if there's
Right.
interest, like
Right.
now we've saw if there's interest and there is, and then we're saying, oh, wait, we're gonna go public.
And I guess two ways. I mean, because, and again, when the group talked a little bit, just say one of the principals wanted just to move, I mean, you could argue that too, that, and I'm just picking on Jill. I mean, if Jill for some reason wanted, she's been a successful leader, I don't think you'd hesitate, or Brian, or, any of the principals. AP, little different, but no, I agree. They've made the cut to get into your admin role.
Right.
They've risen to the top at some point. Now, again, I don't disagree. Who you may get for principal could be different than AP. But again, I was not part of the AP, and so if you think there's a good pool possibly out there that would consider,
Yeah, there was 5 of us, and we had, I mean, on that interview committee, and we had really good interviews. Really good.
For the AP.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd be of the mindset of Lynn and Lindsay too, that, I think if we have good internal candidates for a principal position, I'd prefer to go that route. And then if, we think that there's gonna be a better pool for the AP, I would rather open that up.
the other question that I have, again, because I apologize, I don't have the history. Does the board want some involvement then? Because we have 2 people. I assume we would interview them.
Yeah.
Does the board want some involvement? And so like a couple people, I mean, I'm just looking for direction, obviously. I'll be honest, I think we should go as fairly quickly. Because we're gonna post tomorrow, and we're gonna get it out as quick as we can. Sometime this week, I would think we should do, the interviews. At least that's unless someone's not available. I'm not aware right now, but I think they're both available, and so I'm looking at the board going, person, 2 people, whatever,
Available on.
I would be available at any point in
Yeah, I
time.
think that we should have at
Yeah.
least 1 to 2 members.
1 to 2, and we'll get,
Yeah, I don't even know what my schedule is, but if you let me know the times, I can maybe figure, but I don't need to be there either if it's Josh or
Okay.
you, or if it's Brandon, I don't.
I'm really flexible. My schedule can be
Thursday.
really flexible, so.
I'm
I'll be here Friday.
Wednesday on the town this week.
Oh, that's right.
So I guess maybe if we sent out an email to see who could come on whatever days he
Yeah,
gives.
yeah.
Like, and then go from there.
Yes.
Okay. I'll work on that tomorrow, watch. Any interest, I mean,
Well, I'm gonna be out Thursday, Friday. So I mean,
I'll send it to
Yeah.
each one individually, shoot me
Sure.
what roughly will work, and then we will go for the candidates and see what we get.
Yeah.
And we'll get, it'll be myself, Nancy's not available, but I'll probably get another internal person or something and
Mhm.
have
Sure.
4, perfect. where am I at here? Just to give you a heads up, and we have LTFM approval on the board, tonight. I did have a nice conversation, hour and a half or so with ICS, a little, short training with them, trying to hear what they've kind of done. One, I guess, goal that I have and they're willing to work with, they agreed. I struggled a little bit. You have a one sheet plan, I'm going to say from Ron, of really what's being done this coming year. Our goal is, it's going to be after the summer, but into the fall, to get that to be a 10-year plan. Not that it won't change, you know, the dollars that you have to legally approve are really generated off enrollment. But I mean, what's in year 2, 3, 4? Not that it's not going to change, guarantee it's going to change, but if I got hit, you know, if it's all in my head and I got hit tomorrow by a car or whatever, it's gone. And so let's get more of a, I'm going to say a layman's plan. And so that's just something we're going to be working on.
And so, you know, I had been working with Brian with all those directors who are over a budget to get a 5-year plan
Okay.
so that we can seal it. And again, it will change,
Oh, without,
just to see what it is, the needs.
I mean, because without a doubt, year 10, I mean, it's,
Right.
but yet there can be stuff on if the roofs were done. And I know there is a roof, whatever you want to call it, schedule or whatever, a plan. But I mean, that's a good example. Yeah, they might be
Mhm.
20 years if they were just done now or whatever, but at least you have a plan. You know, if the track's in 4 years, 5 years, it'd be nice to know if someone leaves, what the plan was. So, and again, if it can wait longer, stuff can be pushed back, whatever. But so I just wanted you aware that's where we're going with that. I had a question posed to me a little while back with regards to, I'm going to call it admin reports, at the board meetings here. And for the most part, I have an admin meeting with principals coming up next week. I'm also in favor. It's getting kind of what we want and what, you know, should all be on, not meant to be a 30-minute presentation. You know, I'm thinking once a month, whether we do 2 at one meeting, and I know not every meetings, but most months you have 2 meetings, have 2 at one, 2 at another. I also threw it out. I had like my AD come before, like at the end of each season, and give just a, you know, a little bit of recap. We had, you know, 18 kids in robotics. They competed here. We sent one speech student. That'll come too. And I'm going to say, I think most of, I'm going to say the supervisors are going to, you know, appropriately. We don't need, you know, I'm going to use Ron as an example. He can come once or twice a year and give you a little update. You know, it doesn't have to be you spend a whole day preparing a report. Just keep some notes here and there. That's what I try and do each week, you know, and so, I'm open if there's anything, and I'm thinking mainly, principal wise, I'm gonna meet with them. I want them to give some input. We're gonna come up with kind of an agenda, you know, just basic. Obviously, it's pretty open. If you have any ideas of something you'd really like, throw them our way, but I want them to have input. Uh, last couple things, just still trying to get out and about. Appreciate if anyone has ideas of meeting people. Golf event was awesome last week. I went to one chamber event. Like I said, just trying to get a name and a face out there. And then, the last thing I'll throw out and can come up, superintendent evaluation, and I know has been thrown out and about, and I'm open to some conversation. Obviously, sometimes you don't know what all the needs of the district are. I think a part of it going along with, you know, getting a strategic plan going, but I am open because I think it is good. Yeah, you know, for all of us, if, you know, here's what you want me working for, and whether it's MSBA's plan or an internal eval or whatever. So just something to think about. So it's all I have unless you have questions of me right now.
Any questions?
We haven't met as a long-term facilities committee in a while. So when, we should probably get that in the books too, if this is.
Would you be open? Like I said, I don't know when groups have or haven't met, but I mean, in my past, like our facility met quarterly.
And then, we came up with that plan. That's kind of right there. And that was a plan for this coming year for sure, like the boiler and
Yeah.
the curtains and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what.
Were you there?
No.
I'm also on that committee, but I don't think I was at that meeting.
I was there, but
Yeah.
it just feels like it was a really long time.
Yeah,
ago.
you're right.
think it
We
was
should
spring.
meet
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, I think it was fairly long ago. I mean, I know we talked about all this, but it just feels like.
Would it make sense, and I lose track, I've talked to several people in the past, like I did quarterly facility, where one was towards the end of the summer, so for the most part, here's what got completed. And then you start going pretty much December, November, December, going, we're well into planning, and getting bids going and things like that for, let alone, what are you hearing? Is there anything, you're hearing? Of course, then the third one is more prior to summer. Here's our contracts, here's what's in place, we're good to go. And then the fourth one that kind of comes right at the beginning of summer of, it's the timing, but get them put on the calendar and set. And I don't know if you guys have certain days. We had an off Monday because the board I was with, they just said Mondays are reserved for board work. Yeah, if you'd want one, or if there's a different lunchtime. I mean, I'm open to you all have jobs and different things too, of what's your schedule like.
I think quarterly is a good idea.
Yeah.
But then I would say just send out an email like a week or two in advance to try and get a time that works for the
Okay.
majority of those that would go.
Mhm.
Because things are flexible.
Weeks, well, weeks
Yeah.
change, it changes.
Yeah,
weekly.
it can be morning, can be whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds good.
Any other questions? Diane, you're up.
That first try. Woo. Good evening. So I hope you all had a chance to take a look at the stuff I sent you, a couple different things, but I just wanted to go over where school readiness is. There's a request tonight for us to add an FTE. So let's see here, Carla, if you want to move it up. Yeah. So currently in preschool, we have 4 licensed preschool teachers, 4 classroom paraprofessionals, because the statute by law says you have to have a classroom para for every teacher in order to serve 20 kids. And then we have 7 special education paraprofessionals that serve our children that are on IEPs. What I'm proposing is 1 FTE addition of a licensed preschool teacher, adding a section and serving 20 more kids in our program. And then the 1/5 FTE. So currently we have a teacher on staff and she teaches our 3-year-old program, and 3-year-olds come 2 days a week. They're going to continue to come 2 days a week. They're not included in the VPK funding. We were using her 1 day a week to do prep time for teachers that don't get their prep time. And so we're going to kind of shift how we do things in preschool, and her Wednesdays will be dedicated to be ECFE, get that up and running and get that back on the board for us. And then as enrollments will increase, I'm positive that they will. I'll come back to you when that position needs to increase and ask for more when it's needed. That goes to my rationale. So the 1 FTE preschool teacher allows us to serve 20 more students. If we don't serve those students, we'll be giving that money back to the Department of Ed. Like I mentioned before, we received 120 seats. We only have capacity for 80. So this teacher would get us to 80, and we have 73 kids enrolled right now. So I can only imagine that's gonna, as we get closer, that's gonna get close to the 80 that we can have for capacity. Prepares additional 20 students for kindergarten, and then we receive as much of the VPK funding as we can. The 1/5 FTE person, it's using our staff efficiently, and it enhances program quality for families that have kids birth to 5, and helps. She'll also be able to help with the early childhood screening stuff. So then you look at the budget and you look at where we're at. So things are looking good. We're looking like our 3-year-olds are gonna be in the black. Our 4-year-olds are gonna break even basically, and then our ECFE people, we should have a fund balance at the end of the year with ECFE. That being said, I'm hoping that the program will grow and grow, and so we'll see. So that's looking to the future. The capacity to serve 120 preschool students is kind of the goal, I would say. But we would need to acquire facility space we're looking at 8 to 10 classrooms. If you look at growth, not like right now, tomorrow, we need 8 to 10 classrooms, but down the road, if we're gonna offer ECFE and we need a space for ECFE and we get that program back up and thriving, that's where that is. It's like 3 to 5 year growth plan. Additional staff then to staff those programs, develop and implement and maintain a thriving ECFE program. And then onto the community ed side to build youth and adult programming through community education. And then eventually, as we move down the road, the 5 to 10 year plan or 1 to 5 year plan is to hire an FTE early childhood coordinator to allow for enhanced programming. And then just a little history, back in 1992, I became the full-time early childhood coordinator. We had a full-time community ed director at the time. Then in 2016, when he retired, I became the full-time person for both. So just to build that capacity back, to get back to where we need to be with those two programs. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at for community ed. I've been working on a program right now for after-school intramurals for South Point, so that'll be up and running when fall starts. And then getting some adult ed brochure stuff ready to go, so we have those classes. And those things all generate revenue for us. I didn't put that in the budget, however, because I just don't know. I would hate to say we're gonna generate $50,000 and we generate 10. I mean, it's been a while, so we just need to figure that out.
Any questions for Diane?
Have you looked into the space for the additional classroom that?
Well, the space, there's the space we looked at last year. I ironically got a email from the city today about that space, but no, I haven't.
Well, like in our building,
Oh, in our building?
just the one.
For the one
Oh, for the
class.
one classroom, yes. Yes, before I came to you at the last board meeting, I had already talked to Soraya about the space that we had at South Point, if it was still gonna be available to us, and she said it would be, so.
Okay.
I haven't checked back in with her yet, and now there'll be a change, so I mean, I'll need to check back in, but it looks like that section is taken care of. Yeah,
When do you plan to post for that one FTE?
if it gets approved tonight, tomorrow, or when Nancy gets back, or as soon as possible, yeah.
So this is my naivety, but what is the expense that comes along with ECFE and what is the revenue?
So the expense is a salary, 1/5 of a person's salary. And you're gonna have to have a para in there. So, and then I also budgeted in a fair amount of money for advertising and getting the word out and her time to go out and meet with groups and meet with, go to the library and spend some time with families that are at the library, that kind of PR outreach stuff. So I put a fair amount of money into that part of the budget.
Is she qualified for ECFE?
Yes, she has yeah. The thing we're lacking in ECFE is a licensed parent educator.
Mhm.
They're impossible to find, especially in this neck of the woods. But I do have a staff person who is considering going to school for that, to get her master's degree in that. So that would be a huge bonus for us.
So the revenue, does that come from, because it says.
The revenue
list
is,
Number, and then it says plus additional funds with classes offered.
so that 102
Yeah.
is the state aid we get
Okay.
to offer that program.
So with the preschool going, a new preschool class going back into South Point or whatever, right? How is that going to affect if we need additional, I think it was 3rd grade, we have talked about maybe needing an additional class in 5th grade, correct? Those two numbers,
thought
the
it-
class sizes were getting large, wasn't it?
I thought it was one at South Point, one at.
Well,
Nice.
There'll be
kindergarten.
graders and the 5th grade.
No, there's one at South Point too.
There is.
Yeah,
one.
there is
Yeah.
there is the potential for adding a section at South Point.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I would be speaking out of line on that because that's Soraya's
Yeah,
background. So without her being here, I wouldn't be able to comment
so we,
on
It was
that.
the 3rd grade class that was down to 6th instead of 7 sections, right?
Yeah,
Were we
no.
kinda watching that
I
one?
don't-
Yeah,
I know.
there's a section where we've been watching, yeah.
So if they do need that, is that gonna take the space for pre-K? Or we don't know, or?
I don't
maybe it's
know.
the right
I-
idea?
Yeah, I don't know how to
Okay,
answer
question.
that. I don't know what she plans,
Okay.
what her plans were to reconfigure things over
Okay.
there. Or
So at the next board meeting, we might want to talk about class sizes.
Yep.
And I met with Chad and did a little tour of his building, sorry, today, and I know there's one, and don't quote me which one they're watching, and he said, I better look again to
Thought it
see
was
if,
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
yeah,
so
like I said, I,
New Heights, but I
Yeah.
can't remember at South Point what, it was, I think it was
Yeah.
5th grade, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. We'll talk next
Yeah.
board.
do you want like an enrollment
Yeah,
update,
yeah.
Yeah.
class size, okay.
Any other questions for Diane? Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
We'll go down to 4.3 committee reports.
Has there even been any
Is there
meetings?
any meetings?
Not other than like, we met with, the negotiation group, and like I said, I'll get some quarter facility, the rest, I'm looking for, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when teacher relicensure committee meets, or, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's laughing at me
Just
because.
laughing at her because she
I-
never knows when that
I
committee
never know when
meets
that-
either, but she's on it. It's okay.
You never know.
I got eyes on it.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to 5.0 consent agenda. Take a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Who made the I'm sorry, I'm gonna.
No, nobody moved. Do
Oh.
you want to?
I'll move.
Oh, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Kidding.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on the consent agenda items? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 6.0 opportunities for citizens to speak on items. I didn't have any requests. Did you? Okay. Moving on to 7.0 to approve the agenda. I'll take a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion?
If I can just, and I mentioned it before to a couple, on number 8.5,
Yes,
I would like it crossed out. It should just read approve agreement with Polk County for a family resource center, or to be part of the family resource center. It's not the site agreement. This is just to be so I would say just X that last out. Otherwise, that's all I have.
any other questions or discussion on the agenda items? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 8.0 district business. We have a resolution relating to the election of school board members and calling the school district general election. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution relating, or actually we gotta do a vote. Resolution relating to the election of the school board members and calling the school district general election as presented and attached. So we will need a roll call vote for this, please. Carla.
Do we have a second?
Oh,
I'll second
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry. Yep. Yes.
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 Okay. Motion carries. Thank you, Carla. 8.2, approving the fiscal year 26 long-term facilities maintenance plan. Take a motion to adopt the resolution to approve the Independent School District 595 fiscal year 26 long-term facilities maintenance 10-year plan as presented and attached. Well, this is a roll call too, but I'll take a motion and then we'll get a second.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Carla, please. Yes.
Are we not gonna have the questions or discussions part?
Oh, yes, I apologize. Questions and discussions on long-term.
Well, I have a question. So is this just for the plan or for the plan expenditures in 2025 too? Because I had questions on that. So like the curtains for the pack, are those the ones that are absolutely needed? Because I know it's been talked about many times.
Yes.
And last time I wasn't given an answer on if they were the ones that were.
Fire code.
It's fire
Yes,
code.
it's fire
Due to the
code.
fire
Okay,
code.
that's what I need to know. And then the next question is sound panels. I haven't heard very good things about them at New Heights or South Point, and yet we're gonna buy more. So I just had a question on that.
I have absolutely
No.
no
Where are
idea.
they going?
And I said the same thing we met earlier, that
Oh.
all I can go is this is what is recommended, and,
Well, like, what was the rationale for the LTFM, like, committee that decided curtains were a precedence over, or not curtains, but the sound panels were precedence over other items that may or may not be needed?
I think it was, wasn't it that the noise out of the lab was causing distraction in other classrooms? And so
But I think that one was it was not a classroom right next to it. And then it added, it was was it a it was a teacher's lounge, but then we needed the space and it became a classroom. So now there was no buffer for that, I believe is what the recommendation was. And then because they have a classroom right next to the STEM lab, that was a distraction with that.
So are
believe.
they thinking that these sound panels are gonna like cut the noise or just dim it a little bit or?
Yeah, I mean, that was,
Yeah.
it was,
Probably.
the idea is to help with that, so.
I guess, have we heard as this committee that the sound panels are not helping at all?
Well, I
know.
I've not
honestly,
heard.
from being in the schools, I can't tell a difference that they're in there or when they're not in there. Like I,
But you're in the
But you're in
lunchroom,
there.
or like walking down the halls and things like that too. You can still,
but that's not where the sound panels are located. right?
no, they're in the lunchroom to ideally quiet the lunchroom noise and keep it in the lunchroom, right? And not spread down the hallways? Is that my understanding or is it just supposed to?
I think it's the
keep it-
echoing inside that room.
Right.
Like the noise level inside that room where you are. I don't think it traps it inside, not down the hall. I don't think you can.
I was,
like,
yeah,
shutting
just
the door.
curious on. The
I
rationale
haven't
for it.
heard from anybody at any of the schools that they aren't working.
Okay.
No, I haven't either, but not at this committee level anyway. We haven't heard that.
No.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? Roll call, please. Oh, my bad, my bad. Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. 8.3, award bids for bread, milk, and fuel. I'll take a motion to award the bids for this district's milks needs to the and the district bread needs to, I didn't see who they were.
Prairie Farms for milk.
Prairie Farms for milk. And
Yeah, panel gold.
Pano Gold, for bread. And there were no fuel bids received for the 2024-25 school year as presented and attached in board book.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on this?
Why didn't we get a fuel bid?
Well, what was explained to me is the local company that has been doing it kind of gives it to us at COT and they just don't bid it. But what scares me is if someone did turn in a bid and they've been very community oriented and pretty much giving it to us at cost, I guess,
Yeah.
which is very nice, but I'll see what I can do going, even some verbiage like that, if that's what they intend to do, because if someone came in and I'm just like right now saying, diesel fuel, $4 a gallon, I'm just throwing something out there. You'd be kind of stuck. That's your only bid unless you have a reason to go else, so. But I'm just saying, no, but the thing is, if someone else came along, you'd be kind of stuck at least. I mean, you got a legitimate bid, not a reason to go a different direction,
Right.
so.
So we haven't got a bid for 3 years, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Something to look into for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We had first and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 8.4, approve the 2024-2025 employee handbook. I'll make a motion to approve the employee handbook as presented and attached.
I'll second.
Great. Any questions or discussion?
I do. Where it talks about employee separation, I think that it should be added in there just to lay out an expectation or remind people, that when they leave, we would really like exit interviews done. There's nothing in there about exit interviews. I think that would be good. Maybe we could get 1 to 2 or 5% more people filling out exit interviews if they're aware of them ahead of time. I don't know. I just think that it might be a good idea.
And my understanding is Nancy is doing,
Mhm.
providing, so I have no problem if the board's okay putting a sentence, just like an expectation. Now, has anyone been missed? I can't say, or if they don't return it, there's nothing you can do. But I mean, I think it's a good idea to put something out.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it'd be good practice to.
So if you're okay approving the handbook, I will get a sentence, or we'll get a sentence put in just saying as an expectation, when you resign, you will receive,
you will receive.
electronically receive, and maybe even put, or if you'd rather come in and have a conversation, the door's open.
Literally just something about an exit
Yeah.
interview, and that would be an expectation, just because it's an
Well,
expectation doesn't mean people are gonna follow through with it, but at least
Yeah.
it's laid out.
I mean, you can't use the word expectation because they're no longer employed.
Yeah.
So, but you can say.
Suggest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highly appreciated
Highly
or something.
encouraged.
Yeah, be grateful for, yeah,
Right.
something, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna amend my motion. or Motion, to approve the 2024-25 employee handbook with a sentence regarding exit interviews. Josh, are you okay seconding that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 8.5, approving the agreement with Polk County to be part of the Family Resource Center. As presented and attached in board book.
I'll move to approve.
A second.
Any questions or discussion?
I just wanna note on here that for those who read it out there, it just, we didn't get this at the beginning of January, but it started January, the beginning of January and ends in December. It's not financial, it's not super important, the agreement is there, but it is just now being brought to our attention.
It's more of a gentleman's agreement that was
Yeah,
part of it anyway.
Yeah, so I just wanted
Yeah.
to state that.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8.6, approving the foster care transportation agreement as presented and attached.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 8.7, the Eid Bailey financial audit contract. This is, just so that they can audit us.
Just a yearly contract.
This is a yearly
Yeah.
contract that they.
We
can
have
audit
to
us.
get audited every year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that we
Yes.
have to do? Okay.
There may be options, for the most part, we're set to go with them, this and that. There may be options down the road for a different company that's worked with the district, or I'm just throwing out, competition isn't bad,
Sure.
Right.
um,
And this fee is
We bid this
similar to last year, right?
They added technology, what? Oh, fee, okay.
Do we ever ask other people or no, like what, Mr. Grover was saying, like competition, have we ever looked at anybody else doing them or no?
Oh, yeah.
We have.
Oh, okay.
We've been in a 5-year with them,
Okay,
and this is kind of an extension of that contract.
okay,
Because, another firm can,
yeah,
so they couldn't come in and do it this year.
okay.
We may have an option next year.
Oh, okay,
depending on who bids.
yeah, okay, no,
Okay.
perfect.
See, so did somebody take them? I'll
I'll-
make the motion to accept the audit contract with Eid Bailey.
I'll second. Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8.8, need a motion to approve the Police Liaison Services Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, as presented and attached in board book.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion?
And just so the group's aware, I've, had good conversation a couple times with Cabin, but it is at a 65-35 split. That changed, I think, a few years or a year back or sometime. Obviously in support of having the city in working with us. It is an experienced officer, so it costs a little bit more, but, I recommend approval.
I think that's changed from last year, but that doesn't seem super significant.
I think it did, last year was the first year it changed.
Yes.
It was
That's what I-
35%, yeah,
Sorry, that's what I meant.
yeah,
Yep.
it was 65% us
Yep.
last year.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
so then when we approved it, it was changed, yeah. Okay. I'll take a vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 8.9, approve the afterwave fee increase for the 2024-25 school year as presented and attached.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
I know that we increased a lot of other things by more than 10%, which is what they have done in the past. Is 10%?
No.
Yeah, like I see it still makes some revenue in theory, right? But is 10% adequate?
Right, because we did activity fees and other things.
Yeah, everything else increased more than 10%. So that's why I'm asking, is the 10%, like, do we want to go a little bit more? Or do we, like, just, I don't know. Bring it up, discussion.
Are you asking me my opinion?
I don't know, I was just bringing it up.
I guess my opinion is,
Discussion, that's all.
my opinion is, I don't think we're having this afterwave program to make money or to revenue money. We're doing it to help families that can't find places for their kids to go after school. So I don't want to put that burden on our families that are there.
Okay.
And this is the first increase we've had since we started the program.
Oh, really? Okay.
We kept our fees the same,
Mm-hmm.
so people could, to get people in the program
Mhm.
and run a good program. And part of this, the reason why it looks profitable is because we're streamlining our staff as well,
Okay,
you know, so, yeah, I think it's more than adequate.
okay. Yeah, just trying to open up discussion about it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right, who moved and who seconded?
Eric and Josh, I think.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 8.10, approval of the addition of a school readiness section. And authorize the administration to post for an FTE for a school readiness instructor. I will move to approve.
I was second.
Any questions or discussion?
Just one. So the ECFE, they will be will that person be helping with, so I was a little lost in the conversation earlier, but I thought I'd wait for this part to ask. The ECFE will help with community ed as well, or just with like,
No,
just the early childhood? Okay,
Screening and ECF.
okay.
And that
Will free
Help
up
is
some of the
being-
other time for you to do community ed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
And that's being absorbed by.
by
the
someone who
third-
already
yes.
is employed. Yep.
Correct.
So
Yes.
it's,
Yep.
yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
I just need clarification on that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 9.0, payment of claims and accounts. Gotta pay the bills.
Please.
I'll move to approve the payment of K-12 bills numbers 127420 through 127496 in the amount of $631,520.05.
I'll second.
Josh? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 10.0, board member comments. Eric, sorry, I'll start with you.
No comments tonight?
Josh?
I think we got through a lot of things and, we got, it feels like the next time we start, it's gonna be really close to getting back in, fall sports are gonna be right around the corner, by the time we have another school board. And so it's kind of exciting time to get ready for that next school year. So
Yeah.
excited for that, I guess.
Lindsay?
I guess we just kind of talked about a lot of positions, a lot of things that are gonna be posted tomorrow, so hopefully we get some good feedback that way and a nice pool of candidates. sounds like, well, we didn't talk about counselor social worker, whether that was gonna post tomorrow, right?
We're gonna put, as long as
Yeah.
we can get stuff
Okay.
posted, we're gonna put it out and see what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, oh, so
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
very
It could be
counselor or
either,
social worker,
yeah.
it could be
Yeah.
either one, okay, and then AP, and then preschool teachers, so.
Correct.
A lot of movement, and hopefully, there's probably still some other positions that are hiring, and hopefully we're gonna be that much
Moving
closer
parts.
next meeting to having full staff, and looking forward to the year, like Josh said. Amanda?
Okay, so, first off, I'm super excited, to hear back after the admin meeting about the board report. And once the ideas are from the admin and are passed on, I think it'd be great for the board to get together and discuss, all the options and avenues and things that we as a board would like in after we have the
Yeah.
admin, input from that. I also want to say that the superintendent evaluation, like goals and standards, I think we should have a work session so that us as a board can set clear goals and standards so that we
Yeah.
can do superintendent evaluations and things like that. When should that be? I would say sooner rather than later, but just a work session just solely based on doing the superintendent evaluations. MSBA has, I don't know, it's like 60 pages of step-by-step how to do it. I can email it to everybody. It's in the Dropbox Google Drive thing that Lynn started for the board. It's sitting in there. But I think we should have a work session so that we can discuss that and focus solely on that. And then another thing is school board filings open July 30th and run till August 13th at 5 PM. So if you're interested, please start looking into that. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of the summer.
$2, $2 to apply.
Good deal.
You just
You need
bring
to
it to
borrow
the
some dollars?
office.
I got you.
I don't have any other comments either. I'm looking forward to August meetings. Those always bring a lot of moving parts and changes, and
Ooh.
gets the juices flowing, so,
I'm gone the 12th meeting. Is that the next meeting?
yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody else gone the 12th?
I'm here all the time, so I'm good.
You're not here tomorrow.
Yeah,
Then
touche, touche.
the only thing I would, and I'm not to point her out, Caitlin Floors back, just put a name and a face you hired here a little bit ago. And
Welcome.
so,
Are you okay missing that? Or do you want to be here? Or we'll just say what
If
it's
there's
gonna
a
be
quorum,
and then
yeah.
we'll see. Okay.
Yep.
So the next meeting, Board of Education is scheduled for August 12th at 5:30 PM. And so the next thing is to adjourn the regular meeting. So I'll take a motion,
I'll second.
or I'll move then.
You'll
Instead
move,
of,
she'll
I'll move,
second?
she'll second. Yep.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.